Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Crimes. I, as always, am your host, Tyler Groff von Rebick. That's right. That's right. The Groff has returned, and you may have noticed I shaved. Yes, I know. It's like, but the mustache was everything, right? No, not really. It's just me. You get all the personality now, without the safety barrage of the hair. All right. Oh, sorry. And no, this isn't a fancy cut break into. We are sponsored by Dollar Shave Club. No, I used a regular razor. I didn't have a Dollar Shave razor. I probably should have. I probably would have not, had so many cuts on my face. But yeah, we haven't reached sponsorship level yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there, and I really appreciate it to everyone who has continued to watch our videos, the fans, subscribers, and the people that or person that continues to vote in the polls. Really appreciate it. The participation is awesome. And yeah, got my coffee ready here. It's awesome. It's Colombian roast, I believe. So it's been good. All right, and today's episode is on Gordon Cummins, the Blackout Ripper. This one was voted for in the last week's poll, and we would have got the video done sooner, but yeah, it's been really cold lately. The arthritis has been really bad, and I mean, it just zaps your energy, and that's it. It's like you just want to lay in bed all day and go. But here we are. All right, let's jump into it. Serial killers and spree killers have been known to attack when they felt the urge. Some have waited till an opportune time to attack, to commit an act of violence. In today's episode, we'll look into a man who committed his crimes during the darkest times of human history, which ultimately added insult to injury. Yeah, seems like it. Early years. Gordon Frederick Cummins was born on February 18th, 1914, in the village of New Earswick of North Yorkshire, in the north of England. His parents were John Cummins, a reform school superintendent, and Amelia Lee Cummins, a housekeeper. Cummins was the first of 4 children to be born to the couple. Cummins attended the Llandovery County Intermediate Secondary School. Wow. A private school in the south of Wales. Yeah, of course it's private, because that's why it's got that long, complex name. While in the private school, Cummins was less interested in studies than he was in socializing with his peers. He graduated from the school in 1930 at the age of 16 with a diploma in chemistry and matriculated to the Northampton College of Technology, but managed to drop out 2 years later. Cummins moved to Newcastle and took work as a chemist in an industrial plant. Okay? But he was terminated from this job after 5 months. His next turn in employment was to work as a tanner. That is someone who basically tans hides into leather and stuff. But was again terminated after a year of work for his consistent tardiness. In 1924, Cummins moved to London and took work as a tanner in a clothing factory, where he was promoted to supervisor and earned an income of £3 a week. £3 a week? How the hell do you live on that? Equal to $301 today. Okay, $301. Damn, he was making $300 a week. Oh, his job. Whilst in London, a city of royalty and importance, Cummins sought to blend in with the elite of the city by building an image of aristocracy. To do this, Cummins began to embezzle and outright steal money from work. Oh no. In an effort to boost his profile, as well as practicing an accent one would find in Oxford or Cambridge, and passing himself off to businessmen and others in ritzy hotels as the Honorable Gordon Cummins, bastard son of a duke or an earl. So he was practicing, because let me see if I remember correctly, an accent in the north of England is really close to almost close to a Scottish accent, kind of, where I'm not real good at it, but it's I believe it's so he went from saying, "Hey, all right, laddie, we're gonna get on 10 to the returns," and to trying to practice the Oxfordian accent, which I believe is probably one of those really posh English accents where they're like, "Oh, right, so I do believe that I am now going to find myself in this particular area." Sorry, my apologies to everybody out there from the north of England and the London area. I probably butchered your accents, and I apologize. But you get the idea. That's what he was going for. He also began to boast to his friends about the amount of women he romped with, though this may have largely just been Cummins talking out of his ass. The behavior and his thievery was not appreciated at the clothing factory, and Cummins was sacked in February of 1935. Yeah, you can't really pretend to be big and bad if you're, poor and sad. Damn, kind of rhymed. But then again, it also really depends on what country you're from, because like countries where there is no nobility anymore, but it used to have a nobility, like in Germany, like people who have like German last names, like noble last names and stuff. Some of them work regular jobs, but they still manage to hold on to that trace of nobility. Or like in some African countries, where you'll have kings of an entire village, like an entire land and stuff, but they work like as an something like an engineer or something. So it really just depends on what your idea of hot and pomp is all about. Military service. With little in the way of prospects, Cummins enlisted in the Royal Air Force, where he was trained in the service occupation of rigger, working flight checks for aircraft. Cummins was liked by his superiors, who found him to be an ambitious person in his career. But to his fellow servicemen, he was considered obnoxious, and his boastful comments of being an illegitimate child of a peer led to the men to derogatorily nickname him the Duke. Oh, God. In May of 1936, during an Empire Air Day show in Henlow, Cummins met Marjorie Stevens, a secretary for a theater company, and pursued a courtship with her. After 7 months of courting, the two married in Paddington on December 28th of that year. Following a series of postings around the country and into Scotland, after World War II broke out, Cummins was posted to Cornwall as a leading aircraftman on November 10th, 1941, where he hoped to become a Spitfire pilot. Not pirate. He wants to be a pirate in the Air Force. No, a Spitfire pilot. Again, Cummins' incessant bragging about his bullshit noble ancestry led to him being despised by other servicemen, and they started referring to him as the Count. Damn, he went from being a duke to a count? I guess he, as long as it's a title, he don't care what it is, right? At this post, Cummins took a side job as a bartender at a local social club, but was fired a week later for giving free drinks to RAF personnel. After this, the owner of the bar discovered some of her jewelry had been stolen, and while she blamed Cummins, no charges were ever filed. Oh, man. After having put in over 1,000 flight hours, Cummins was able to take the aviation exam and pass with flying colors. He was sent to the Aircrew Receiving Center and required to begin on February 2nd, 1942. Okay, he's doing pretty good, other than being a, blowhard and a thief. Murder spree. Oh, shit, got right into it. Cummins' murders happened during the blackouts, which would cause cities to minimize the lights in the city so as to make it difficult for enemy air raid pilots to spot targets. During the blackouts, people were remanded to their houses, windows and doors were locked, streetlights were dimmed or switched off completely. Windows were also covered with blinds that were not washed, because they felt if the blinds were washed, it would deflect light. This naturally led to widespread looting and other criminal acts. On Sunday, February 8th, 1942, Cummins took a £1 note from his wife and left their house, telling her he was going for a night on the town lookout. For all those out there who don't know what a pound is, it's like the British version of a dollar. It's British currency. I'm not saying he actually took a piece of paper that weighed a whole pound. That would be awful and wouldn't make any sense either. Walking around with a piece of paper that weighs a pound or 10 pounds in your pocket. Yeah. The next morning, an electrician alerted the police to the Montague Place air raid shelter, where they found the body of 41-year-old pharmacist Evelyn Hamilton. It was unknown whether the death had occurred in the shelter or if she had been placed there after death. She had been strangled, her skirt was raised, and her panties pulled to her knees. Oh. She was missing her handbag that reportedly had 80 pounds in it. Her bag was later found empty and discarded on Wyndham Street. Hamilton's body was not found to have been sexually molested, but she did have several scratches and cuts due to having fought her attacker. She had told friends that she was taking a job in Lincolnshire, having left her previous job a day earlier, and had celebrated her birthday with a glass of wine. only to be attacked on her way back to her house. That's sad. And it's crazy that it says that she was they didn't find any evidence of sexual molestation and stuff, but having your panties pulled down to your knees, I mean that kind of like a dead giveaway that kind of thing would happen. At least from watching SVU, that seems to be the case. Early the following day, on February 10th, the nude and mutilated body of 35-year-old Evelyn Oatley, a married nightclub hostess who moonlighted as a sex worker, was discovered by 2 meter readers in her apartment. The police investigation found that Oatley had been viciously beaten around her face and chest before having her neck slashed open with a 6-inch gash caused by a safety razor, causing her carotid artery to bleed out. Oh my God. Oatley had suffered several cuts and gashes to her stomach, thighs, and genitals. These cuts had been caused by a tin opener, which is like a can opener. Damn. While Oatley's body, that's like I understand, because like back then a can opener was like a little handle with like a piece of like a curved blade on it and stuff. They used to like pull around the can. It's not like the ones you see nowadays. You put the handle and you twist it around and it makes the can go around like that and stuff. Because I don't think you could do much harm with that. I mean, you probably could, but I wouldn't want to. Why are we talking about that? While Oatley's body had been molested with a flashlight, which was found still inside of her. Oh my God. Damn, Cummins. A blood-smeared pair of curling tongs were located near the bed. On the floor were several safety razors strewn about from Oatley's leather purse. A bloody razor was found beside her head, and a tin opener was found at the scene. Police Detective Chief Superintendent. God. Frederick Cherrill was able to discover fingerprints left in the tin opener. Several eyewitnesses reported they had seen Oatley talking to a uniformed man with a mustache and leaving in his company back to her apartment. Or flat. They call it flat over there. On February 13th, the body of 43-year-old sex worker Margaret Florence Lowe was discovered in her Marylebone apartment by her 15-year-old daughter, Barbara, after she had been told that her mother hadn't been seen in 3 days. Lowe had been a merchant that sold her business, and after sending her daughter to a boarding school, worked as a house cleaner and dabbled in some prostitution every so often. Lowe had been beaten grievously before being strangled to death with a silk stocking that was still tied around her neck. Oh my God. The forensic pathologist on the scene, Sir Bernard Spilsbury, described the attack as quite dreadful, and that it must have been caused by a savage sexual maniac. The injuries inflicted to Lowe surpassed the savagery of previous murders. Several of the mutilations had been inflicted while the victim had been still alive, although she had been near the point of death. Her body had been extensively slashed and mutilated with a variety of implements, including a razor blade, a vegetable knife, a table knife, and a fireplace poker, all of which were found protruding from or beside her body. God almighty. Her abdomen had been open, exposing her internal organs. Oh my God. With one further wound inflicted to the right side of her groin being a deep gaping wound measuring 10 inches in length. This guy just went crazy. Whoa. A serrated bread knife protruded from a wound close to Lowe's groin. A wax candle had also been inserted 6 inches into her vagina. Okay, Cam, that's not... I was not expecting to see that. And her uterus had been slashed as well. It seemed that, according to evidence, that the vegetable knife may have been the one that caused most of the slashing and cutting to her body. Fingerprints were found on various items, including candle holders, a bottle of malt beer that had nearly been finished, and a glass tumbler. God. On February 12th, Cummins returned to the house of Catherine Mulcahy for a sexual encounter, paying her £2. However, after both undressed, Cummins pinned her down and began trying to strangle her, only for Mulcahy to fight Cummins off and flee. Cummins gave her 8 £1 notes, stating he'd been drinking too much, and left the house. Incidentally, he forgot his RAF webbing belt at the scene. Well, this guy's just graduating from the school of stupidity. That same night, 13. Not that there's a school for how to. Never mind. That same night, 32-year-old Doris Jeanette, who was the wife of a hotel manager and sometimes engaged in sex work when her husband was sleeping overnight at his hotel, told her friend she was meeting a regular client whom she knew as the captain. Okay, so no longer interested in nobility ranks. He's calling himself a captain now. Damn, Cummins, be happy with who you are. Then again, don't, because you're a psycho rapist bastard. She met with him and took him to the two-room house she shared with her husband, who was working overnight. The following day, Doris' elderly husband, Henri, arrived to find the bedroom door locked. He had been curious when he found that the milk had not been brought in. Oh, yeah, because back then they had like a milkman who used to drop off a bottle of milk in the morning and stuff like that. Unable to enter the bedroom or pry open the door, he called in a constable to assist, and upon entering, discovered an absolute horror scene. Doris was nude except for an open nightgown and had been strangled with a silk scarf. Jeanette's jaw had been broken before she had been strangled with the stocking knotted beneath the left side of her chin. Her genitals, left breast, abdomen, and thighs were extensively scarred and mutilated with a razor blade and a knife in a similar manner to the body of Oatley and Lowe. One of the wounds inflicted was a 6-inch vertical gash extending between her navel and her genitalia. Another wound inflicted to her vagina measured 6.5 to 7 inches. Furthermore, the flesh beneath her left breast had been carved away. Oh my god. It's like some Manson family shit in here. The knife used to mutilate Jeanette had been placed on her right thigh. 2 used condoms lay on the floor beside the bed, and a gold watch and approximately 5 pounds had been stolen from the flat. Wait, they had condoms back then? I know that's not at all related to this disturbing crime scene, but I didn't know they had condoms back in World War II. I thought that was like something that was invented in like the 60s. The forensic doctor was able to deduce that Jeanette had been strangled to the point of death before her client had begun attacking her with a knife. He had kept himself restrained from going above the navel, but once below, he had gone into berserker mode when he attacked her legs and genitals. This Cummins guy is disturbed. Like, there was like nothing. There was nothing to. There was no triggers. I mean, usually with everybody else, like that Gaskins guy, I mean, he was abused when he was a kid and stuff. Same with that Fish guy and everything. Now, the Ridgway guy, he didn't really have anything like that other than like some weird, creepy sexual murder obsession with his mom. But this guy literally had no triggers in his upbringing that would set him off to be this level of psycho crazy. That's like, this guy was just a ticking time bomb, obviously. On the night of February 13th, Cummins met with Margaret Heywood, taking her to dinner and then a walk. However, while on the walk, Cummins began to get handsy with Heywood, trying to get her to go into an air raid shelter with him. Heywood told Cummins she didn't know of any in the area, and even if she did, she would not go anywhere with him anyway. Burn. Cummins started getting more aggressive with his fondling, and Heywood slapped him away, only for Cummins to chase after her and choke her into unconsciousness. Oh, shit. Taking his time to rifle through her handbag. However, he was interrupted by 18-year-old John Shine, who was working at the local pub and spotted the two. Cummins panicked and ran away, dropping his RAF-issued gas mask and bag in the area. Why would he take that shit with him to begin with? I mean, doesn't he have like a barracks or something? If you're gonna like, I mean, I'm not stressing it because they probably used. That's good that he did that because he's psycho bastard. But like, if you were going to do some kind of a crime, wouldn't you leave everything that could connect you to it, like at home, like an issued bag or your wallet or something? I mean, like in case you drop your license out of it or something like that. I don't know. That's not how. Okay, any criminals out there, don't take that advice because then they might never catch you. Great. Now I'm giving advice to criminals. You can already hear the Law and Order, the ton ton music in the background. Heywood regained consciousness and went with Shine to fill out witness statements to the local police department. Realizing that he had dropped his gas mask and bag, Cummins stole another airman's mask and bag. Oh yeah, that can't go wrong. Arrest and trial. The police recovered the gas mask and discovered the regimental serial number 525987 located on it. The investigators were able to track this number to Cummins' regiment and service attachment on February 16th. Cummins tried to state that he did have his own mask and bag, but he had no actual reason for why the serial number found on the one that he dropped was actually matched to him, other than the fact that it was actually his. Cummins was arrested for Heywood's attempted murder, while the police investigated Cummins' living quarters and discovered a cigarette case that had belonged to Oatley. Cummins, he kept the cigarette case from the crime scene? Are you stupid? Cummins was put in the lineup for Heywood and Mulcahy to identify. Mulcahy couldn't accurately identify Cummins, but Heywood was able to immediately. Fingerprints were taken from Cummins and positively identified the fingerprints found at the other crime scenes. And thank God. Cummins was put on trial for the murder of Evelyn Oatley at the Old Bailey on April 24, 1942. During the trial, Cummins remained unattached to everything, either casually chatting with his lawyer or turning to smile and wave at his wife, who remained completely convinced of his innocence. Yeah, right. Convinced of his innocence. Wait till they prove it and stuff, and she's gonna figure out that he's the one who went like knife happy on those women. This guy's disgusting. Cummins denied everything that had been leveled against him, stating he had been out drinking during the time of the murders and wouldn't have committed them regardless. After 1 day of trial and a 35-minute deliberation, the jury returned, and when asked to their verdict, they revealed guilty of murder. Thank God. Cummins didn't show any emotion, although his wife immediately burst into tears, and the Justice Cyril Lord Asquith, see, that's an actual nobleman, unlike this, blowhard idiot Cummins and stuff. This guy actually, his name's Cyril Lord Asquith. I mean, obviously, he's actually a real nobility. Handed down the sentence of death to Cummins. When asked if there was a reason why Cummins shouldn't be executed, Cummins responded, "Because I am completely innocent, sir." No, you're not. You are not innocent. There's nothing innocent about you. Cummins was sent to His Majesty Wandsworth Prison until his execution. He lodged one appeal against the sentence, but this was thrown out. Marjorie and his father visited Cummins on a regular basis, completely convinced of his innocence until the end. Execution. Oh, they executed him? Shit. Hell yeah. Gordon Frederick Cummins was given a glass of brandy to calm his nerves and then walked to the gallows on June 25, 1942. Cummins was executed just as a German air raid was occurring in the area. Cummins has the rather grim record of being a British convicted murderer, of being the only British convicted murderer executed during an air raid. That's kind of ironic. Damn, that was dark. Final notes. Oh, we're not over yet. Gordon Cummins was found guilty of one murder, but had committed 4 and was tied to another, and was known to have attacked but not killed 2 more. Cummins is mostly known as the Blackout Ripper, but he is also known as the Blackout Killer, the Wartime Ripper, Wartime Jack the Ripper, the Captain, and to more derogative ways, the Count and the Duke. Oh, and the Honorable. Cummins is commonly considered a contemporary equivalent of Jack the Ripper, despite having attacked more people than Jack did. Yeah, but I would say he's right on par with the amount of violence. I mean, Jack the Ripper was like slashing and removing organs, and this guy was slashing and removing everything. Although initially gaining little press coverage in the beginning, the news began to take off when the bodies of all 4 victims were tied to the same murder, causing the news to become international and the press to dub Cummins as the Blackout Ripper. After Cummins was executed, he was tied to the murder of a woman known only as Mrs. Church, when his fingerprints were tested to those located all over her mutilated corpse. Church had been murdered in October of 1941, and nobody had been suspected for her murder until the fingerprints were collected. Hey, this guy killed people before? Damn. There's not telling, I hate to say this, but judging by how violent he was, how evil and how malicious and shit he was towards sex workers and stuff, there's no telling how many people he murdered and shit. I say they need to look for more bodies. It's like they need like any murders, any slasher murderers of that time and stuff need to be like put on this guy. I mean, I know he's already executed. We can't, revive him and bring him back and kill him again. But I mean, just I would not hold it past him. I mean, he was plus he was it's like all over. He was posted to like Scotland and other parts of the country and stuff like that. So I would not be surprised if he had been killing people there as well. I mean, that's a dark thing to say, but I'll bet you that's what it was. The Blackout Ripper has been the subject of several true crime books, and the Crime Investigation Network have broadcast an episode focusing on the Blackout murders as part of their Murder Casebook series, presented by Fred Denenage. I probably screwed that up. I apologize. This 45-minute episode was first broadcast in November 2012. I guess that's the end. It was a really dark episode. Damn. That Cummins guy was like, yeah, insane. Like, I'd say he earns the title Wartime Jack the Ripper, that's for sure. Or Jack Jr. Ugh. I really hope they all appreciated that episode. I liked it. I never heard of Gordon Cummins before now. This episode taught me a lot, especially that condoms were apparently made in the 40s even. So, I mean, who knew? Obviously someone did, but I didn't. So, I want to thank you all for watching this episode. This is dark. I really didn't enjoy it, but I mean, that's what we're here for. All right. This has been Coffee and Crimes, and I've been Tyler Groff on Rebic. Until next time.